The St. Louis moms are not unhappy with that coaching decision.
Welcome to amorephillyunion, where we love the taste of gooey butter cake. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
I'm sorry about that one.
So we got a fun episode this week. We got some good news to talk about. The Union's game against St. Louis City this past Saturday. Very exciting game. Some first in many ways. So yeah, I guess let's just dive right into it. So this was the first matchup between the Union and St. Louis City. St. Louis being in their third season. This is the very first time these two teams have crossed paths. And luckily it was here in Philadelphia. Kind of some interesting story arc here, right? Bradley Carnell being our head coach, but former head coach for St. Louis City in their storybook first year fairy tale.
Yep.
Fairy tale.
Story.
There you go.
Yeah, first year. Amazing run in their very first year. Not so amazing in their second year, and hence Carnell is now with us. So this was definitely shaping up to be a very interesting match. So maybe the first thing to talk about is the lineup. Heavily defensive, I would say. You know, it was a 4-4-2 or a 4. What was it again, Paul?
4-2-2-2.
Yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
Almost a phone number.
I was just thinking that. It's like, what
Yeah.
area code is that?
Yeah.
But we had some firsts in terms of the lineup, right? We had Glavinovich starting for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
Has he subbed in games? Or at least
Yes.
not? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
But this was his first start. So that was very cool to see. We were missing a lot of our starters due to international and just,
red card. Marcano had a red card.
that's right.
Right.
I knew we had
Yes.
one red card out there.
Mhm.
So Blake was out.
Baribo was out. Gazdag was out.
Yeah.
Westfield was out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Danley was out.
Yeah. Bedoya wasn't there, but that was not for international, I think.
No. Carnell said afterwards he had a family obligation that
Yeah.
he wasn't available to be a part of the 18. Yeah, it was really, like you said, it was surprising. It was surprisingly defensive in that Harriel was also on the field as well as Glesnes and Glavinovich, but it was different because Harriel was playing in one of the attacking midfield roles rather than a defensive position.
Yeah.
Carnell actually talks about it after in the post game that he knew he could put Harriel out there and Harriel would do the running that was needed. In fact, if they look at the stats, Harriel covered more grounds than a lot of other players on the field, and he knew he could count on him to do that, which is why he put him in that position.
Yeah. Yeah. Other starters, Rick was in net, right? Blake was out due to international duty, and Rick was starting between the posts.
And Vasilev got to start in a
Yes.
defensive midfield position with Lukic.
So for me, it was a little nervous making at the beginning of this game because we were down a lot of our starters, arguably, not as much firepower out in the field.
I think that was pretty universal among the Philadelphia Union fans that there was concern about this going into this game with so many people missing.
Yeah. And then plus this is, Carnell going up against his former club, so there's a little bit of a point of pride, in this game. And it felt like it had there's a lot of material here that the MLS writers could work with. And then there was the weather. Very cold and very windy.
It would have been bad enough with just the temperature, but the wind did not help things.
Yeah. And we were all at this game together. And well, if droid share is droid multiply, then cold shared is
Just
it's
cold.
not
Oh,
fun.
it's just cold.
cold.
It's just cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just cold. So yeah, that was rough. But
So yeah, let's talk about a few points because we got some more fun stuff in store for this episode. So we're gonna kind of maybe hit some of the more salient points right now for our discussion, and then we'll get to the next part. But who wants to take the first big, well, arguably the biggest piece of news from this game?
The Glavinovich goal, I'm assuming you're talking
Yep,
about.
that's it. Yep.
Yeah, so Jan got to make his first MLS start. And what minute was it happen? I know it was first half.
8th minute.
It was the 8th minute?
Yeah, we were bucking the trend of scoring too soon.
Yeah. So the Union earned themselves a corner kick in the 8th minute. And, Wagner once again steps up to take it. I guess he must have waited for a down moment in the wind. And he delivered a cross to the far side of the net, and Glavinovich rose over the defender nearest him and just powered it right past the keeper. I mean, it was definitely, Lunt didn't really have a chance at getting that if he hadn't gotten to the cross. And Glavinovich made no mistake finishing it off. It was really wonderful to see him get up there and make that happen.
Yeah. And that gives Wagner his 5th assist for the season.
Insane.
And I haven't checked the league stats, but I got to imagine if he's still not in first, he's still up there. Glavinovich gets his first goal of for the Union and I guess in MLS. So, congrats to him.
So I'm looking at the page now, and it looks like Wagner has 4 according to MLS stats. I don't know exactly why that is, but he is tied with two other players for the lead and assist.
Oh,
Interesting. Okay. Baribo is still atop with six goals.
Yeah, you could probably sit out a few games and still hold on to that record.
Claypers from Chicago has 5, so he's not that far behind.
Okay, well. Let's get moving again then, Baribo.
That's right.
I think also there was another first for Glavinovich, and that was his first yellow card. When did that come in? That was
26th minute.
26th.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of, in the bingo card, he's checking a couple boxes there. First goal, first yellow card.
And his first time to make the MLS Team of the Week.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty good first week outing.
Yeah,
maybe minus the yellow card.
It's not a Gordie Howe hat trick, but he'll take it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know what a Howe hat trick is, that's a goal, an assist, and a fighting major, I believe.
Yeah, and I guess kind of the other things of note here. Rick definitely had a couple good saves in net. Keeping us with a clean sheet.
There was that one reaction save that he had I think it was the first half, where he kind of just he went to the left to make the first block on a shot, and it ended up back at a St. Louis player's feet, and they took a shot and he got a hand to it. And at first I thought it went off of one of the defenders, but on the replay it was pretty clear that it went off of Rick. He did a great job.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting though, because as we mentioned later, he did get awarded or selected by the Sons of Ben as the MVP of the game or whatever they call it, and he got to bang the drum afterwards. And apparently, there's some video of him looking up at the stands, going like, "I only made one save."
Hey, one is enough sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah,
but he did a great job.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they went for the redhead on Irish Heritage Night.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I was surprised it wasn't Glavinovich, to be totally honest, but no shade on Rick, but
yeah. And then other particular event that's worth of note was in the second half. This was a very chippy game, surprisingly chippy. A lot of yellow cards, but particularly one St. Louis player really liked collecting yellow cards so much that he got a red. That was Loven. That was in a 66 minute. And
Mhm.
at that point, the Union were up obviously 1-0. So it felt like, this game should have been, how would I say it, well managed to its conclusion. But I think it's safe to say City was going to do everything they could to not make this feel like a sure thing.
Yeah.
It really did seem to turn after the red card. Like we've often said on here, and you guys have often said, really that one or two things happens after a red card, and
Hmm.
the bad thing for us happened.
Yeah.
Although it turned out to
Yeah.
not make a difference, but still they were fighting mad, playing mad.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
Don't
But
drive angry.
yeah, exactly. But they were coming for us for sure. They just ran out of time before they could get that goal. Felt like forever when you were
It really
freezing.
did.
Yeah. It was
I think it had something to do with the temperature as well as
Yes.
the
Yeah.
way the game played out. It wasn't the hack and slash kind of swashbuckling kind of a game. It was a not sloppy, but just there was a lot of pressing all over the field from
Yeah.
both teams. It wasn't at quite Nashville levels, but it wasn't far off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their keeper was really strong. We had a lot of shots that
Yes.
could have gone somewhere that didn't,
Yeah.
because of him mostly. So
It could have gotten a lot uglier for them
It-
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That score could have been more like one of the first two games for
Right.
us. But
But luckily against all odds, against all the odds people were feeling in their hearts, if that
yeah, and
makes
I
any
was
sense.
one of them at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I was nervous about this
We
game.
were all nervous. Yeah. Scoops was nervous.
I'm not even going to hop on the bandwagon right here. Just woo, woo, woo. No, I was worried too.
Yeah.
When you see that many starters unavailable
Yeah.
for a game,
Yeah.
you can't go
Yeah.
in too confident. Even if St. Louis has been struggling to score a bit, and then going into the game, they hadn't given up a goal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
We have
that's
the
tough.
honor of handing them their first
Their first goal against
against.
and first loss of
Yeah.
the season.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess, Bradley's Carnell's defensive minded lineup, arguably it held,
Yeah.
I know when Klaus came on the field and he and Glesnes definitely seemed to tussle a bit. I was very glad having Glesnes back there. Yeah, I didn't feel like, well, honestly, I didn't feel that confident until that we were like minutes away, in stoppage time from the final whistle. But yeah, we pulled out the win, 1-0. Not super pretty, not super one-sided, but it's a win's a win. And yeah, with that, we are back in first place.
One of only two teams with 12 points in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
The Union are doing well.
Yeah.
It's exciting,
It is
honestly.
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
Despite the sound of my voice there, no, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Union
We're-
is sitting at the top of the East. Now there are a couple of teams at 10 points as well, but
Sure.
it's a good place to see them.
Yeah. I mean, we're 5 games in, right? We're still we got to figure out where the line in the sand is, right? Like how many games into the season do we need to be and still be having a real good winning record that we can start to think, all right, yeah, we playoffs, let's do it,
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
True.
But,
Spoken like a true Philly fan.
we have talked about that, so many games before we can see whether or not
Mhm.
Carnell's experiment's working enough, and
Mhm.
I think we have to get through the. We're through the first 5 games. I don't know that it's full 10 before
Yeah.
we see whether or not they're catching out.
Mhm.
But right now I'm hopeful that the
Yeah.
guys seem to be buying into his approach,
Yeah.
that they seem to be adopting it, that they seem to be making it work.
Yeah.
Part of me is also concerned that this is a very, very exhausting style of play. So come August in the heat and July
Yeah.
in the heat, are they going to be able to continue to play like this? Or come September and October, are they going to have anything left in their legs?
Yeah.
And that kind of happened to St. Louis in that first season. They won the West, but then they bowed out against Kansas City in that first round of the playoffs. I would hate to see that happen again.
Yeah.
Especially since the East seems really competitive right now. There are currently 4 teams at 10 points and Columbus is at 9. So even with the Union at 12, there's not that much of a buffer between us and being down in 5th or 6th place. So and grab these points now. They're worth just as much in March and April as they are in September.
Yeah.
But it's a long year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that said, with a different lineup and so many people who don't normally starting this week against St. Louis, I mean, and them doing, I mean, not resoundingly, earth-crushingly well in the sense of 4-0, but we still pulled it out. I think that gives me hope for a certain amount of maybe rotation that might stave off some of that. I mean, it is a long season regardless, and that's regardless of who you're rotating. I mean, there are some standards in here, Kai and Quinn, but and Glesnes, but yeah, it's not going to go so far as to say we have a super deep bench, but I do feel like we have some people who are good candidates that if somebody is knocked down, we might be able to stand someone else up and hold the fort.
Yeah, I think it is demonstrating we do have some depth on our bench. Does it have the stamina to go a full season? Well, we'll find that out. We'll find out. But so far, with every week where we have a game and it's a test and we keep performing, okay, that's one more down, right?
And not another tournament to play in.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important point. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna kind of pause the conversation about the game. We're gonna continue, but we're gonna bring in some guests to help us with that. So with that, we're really excited this week. We have an interview lined up. So let's kick it off to the interview and continue the conversation. This week, we are very happy to have back on the pod 2 special guests that represent the Western Conference to our Eastern Conference, the Arch to our Liberty Bell, the Toasted Ravioli to our Cheesesteak. We are excited and welcome back to the pod, all the way from St. Louis, via Chicago, via Zoom. Welcome to amorephillyunion, Mel and Jim.
Welcome.
Hey. Wow.
Thanks for having us. Those were some pretty good comparisons there. I was having a tough call for all of them.
I was up to 2 this morning writing it, but
Beautiful.
so real quick, just for our listeners, Mel and Jim are St. Louis City fans, and with the Union and St. Louis having their very first tete-a-tete, I guess, on Saturday, they were very big to come on to the podcast. And
thank you very much.
Yes, we very much appreciate it.
Of course. Yep, no worries. Licking our wounds.
Yeah, we're not fair weather fans. We're in it for the ups and the downs.
For better or for worse, sickness and health.
Speaking of, it was good seeing some familiar faces on the pitch there.
Yeah, so that's one of my questions. How was it seeing some faces that were not wearing what we call the St. Louis watermelon, or the
hot red.
Hot red, that's what it's called.
Well, I don't know if I recognize the face first or the style of play, because we saw a lot of ugly soccer that we won in the first season of St. Louis City. Mm-hmm. And some people might call it ugly, but it really is just, it was actually really fun to watch, because it was a lot similar of style that St. Louis played in that first year where we had all the success. Mm-hmm. And the Carnell carnage was easy to see all across the pitch.
Yeah. They swarm quick, and they get numbers to the ball fast.
Yes, definitely. And it wasn't fun to play against. It was very frustrating. And I think Carnell was very happy to stick it to his old club a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think, Yeah, I don't know. Indy wasn't super noticeable. I don't know if you had noticed much of what he did in the game.
Yeah, nothing too much. I feel like he just kind of he's all over the place. He runs
Mhm.
around a lot, and he's a fun player to watch. And I feel like he's always kind of making something happen,
Mhm. Mhm.
If I'm
even
not
if he's not kind of
mistaken,
the star of the show.
yeah, sorry. If I'm not mistaken, this was his first start for us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, I think he's finding his feet a little bit, and
And they
for
also played
Philly.
him in that withdrawn position in the midfield. He wasn't one of the attacking midfielders. He was side to side with Danley, and
Yeah,
so he
yeah,
had
we
more of the
noticed
field in front of him.
he was a little further back than he normally played with us, but yeah, he might not be quite a star on the pitch every game, but he is a star on the Instagram feed. I don't know if he's gotten in any of your videos yet, but he was always the most fun to watch whenever Indy would grab the Instagram of the
Huge personality.
Yeah.
He became the personality, I feel like, for a bit. That's why he was hard to lose because
Yeah.
I mean, he was a reliable player every match he was in the game. And so he was a constant, I would say, for us.
yeah,
So
most
that was
most
a
ever
bummer.
most ever games played
Oh, really?
still. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
but he also had a great personality off the field, and it really came through. I would say he was always just kind of leading the team and morale and
Mhm.
stuff.
That's the kind of player who's the hardest to lose. I feel
Yeah.
like, like we thought we were going to lose our Ali Bedoya, who is like the heart of the team, in my personal
Mhm.
opinion.
Heart,
And
soul.
I think, yeah. And we did lose another player last year who had kind of slowly wormed his way into being like, I'll say,
Yeah.
the joy of the team. Like he was just
Oh,
like
yeah.
this happy presence. Like you could not hold him down. And
Mhm.
he happy. Sometimes he got a lot of yellow cards, but like he just.
Sure.
He was when he went, like the wind went out of the team a little bit. I
Mhm.
think, I mean,
Hmm.
we didn't have a great season. Not just because of that, but that I think that was part of it. But anyway, so I know what you mean when you lose the personality, it can make such a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of crazy. I was surprised that there were only 5 players that Carnell coached that are still on the team, which it hasn't
Really?
felt like
Really?
we've had that much turnover, but I guess we kind of have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised
Or
too.
maybe 5 active player,
Okay.
5 that are really on the field often.
Yeah.
But
I know
Yeah,
what you mean.
5 that were
a
active
lot
for the
of
game.
new faces
Yeah.
across the board.
Were there some that were away for international duty?
No, actually, this time we didn't have anybody away for international
Oh,
duty.
wow.
We did have 2 injuries, but
Yeah, we were missing our Berkey, our goalie,
yeah,
and
goalkeeper.
he's our captain too, so that's kind of
Mm.
tough. But
Let me tell you, you weren't missing them because I mean,
Boys.
Yeah.
maybe, but
100%.
oh my God, Lunt was
We
earning his money.
that game did not look like it was played by 2 backup goaltenders or
Dude.
goalkeepers.
Yeah.
No, it didn't at all.
we didn't give yours very many difficult chances, but
Yeah.
That's okay. We didn't mind.
Yeah.
But,
No, that was okay.
but yeah, that was definitely, I would say, our most shining moment from the game was just being able to see one have a really solid game. It just makes us feel good that that's our backup goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's brought a lot of confidence the last couple appearances.
So Lunt, right? That's his name, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
Lunt. He is a massive man.
So just look at
Always
the stat.
helpful.
Oh no, sorry, that is right. Yeah, so there was at least 8 shots on goal in that game, and I think he blocked. I was doing a little tally
7 of them.
Yeah, I had at least
Wow.
5 of them. He stopped,
Wow.
and they were just clutch saves.
Mhm.
Yeah, he, especially at the end of the first half there, he was, he really kept us in it, made the second half exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think if you guys had been at full strength and he wouldn't have had some of those saves, this would have been a very different game than 1-0.
Yeah,
Could
how
be.
was it to watch a match with so many out on, injury or international assignment?
I
feel
was
like
I don't think
fully
we're supposed to be
nervous.
asking the questions.
It's okay. You can ask the questions. It's fine.
No, this is a conversation.
No,
man.
it was. I was fully nervous. I'll just
Yeah.
speak for myself here, but I was like, when I said that, I was like, and I put up a poll. I've gotten in the habit of putting up a poll on our Insta, and I think it was something like 67%. I just put up emojis, like basically fearful, kind of moderate, and then no, I'm still good. And fearful was like 67%. Like everybody was very nervous, especially because we lost the previous week. So, we're kind of white knuckling this season. Since last season we started off okay. Not as well as this season, but and then it went downhill from there. And I think people are just waiting for it to all fall apart, so since we had a bad week last week, and then when we saw, oh my God, I think 7 people total out.
Cow.
But then really about 3 to 4 people who are starters or fresh legs regularly. So yeah, people were very nervous. And I don't think anybody takes St. Louis lightly. I mean, it's a bit of an unknown quantity too, unless you've been paying attention like we have. Since we haven't played you guys before. But yeah, I was fully nervous.
Well, that must have been good to see, though.
Yeah, and it was interesting too, because in terms of like when you mentioned seeing the Carnell, I don't know,
Carnage.
Carnell Carnage.
Yeah, this kind of.
Feel free to use that one.
It's been floating around St. Louis airways.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing it's one of the lower hanging fruits, it almost writes itself.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I know like our lineup, there's some discrepancy, but I mean, essentially it was a Paul, a 4-2
4-2-2-2.
But it was kind of like, I mean, at the game, I think I thought I saw it somewhere. It was actually more of a 5-3-2. It just felt like a very defensive heavy game in terms of our lineup. Like, and I just, when I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna
lock
hunker
down.
We're gonna hunker,
it's go like, for the 0-0.
Yeah. And at some points I would have been happy with that. Like in the first half, I was just like, I'll take the draw. Yeah. We're out our starting keeper. We're out our top scorer. We're out.
Totally.
Like, serious firepower.
That's a fun game to come away with a win, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Slightly shocking, to be totally honest.
Right.
And let me see what the stat was here for this. This I was a little surprised because we were texting with you guys during the game.
Yeah.
The possession was the crazy stat, I thought. 27% or something like that, right? Or
no, the final stat for the game, and this is what's kind of, you guys, in the second half, right? Who was it who got the second yellow?
Leuven.
Yeah, Leuven. It's still registering you guys as having the majority of percentage.
Oh my gosh. That
like 55 to 45% essentially. And
that was it. You guys did say it after the red card. You either start playing better or you start playing worse.
Yeah.
And I'll take that deal, because if we didn't change, it wasn't going to get any prettier.
Yeah.
And we by every metric played better after the red card than before the red card.
Yeah. And we were at the game freezing, and it was nervous making, I didn't start feeling a little bit more relaxed until like we had like 10 minutes on the clock. There was definitely a forward momentum by the Union.
Right. You guys were getting some chances back.
Yeah. But I think the other thing we mentioned too is I don't know if this is true for you guys, but there were a lot of yellow cards. There were 7.
Crazy.
In that game.
Wow.
And St. Louis had the majority.
St. Louis had a lot of them.
You had a lot. And it's like, Philly brings out the Philly and everybody. I mean, do you guys normally rack up this many yellow cards?
I mean, I don't know that I've seen Leuven get 1 yellow card in a while.
Wow.
He got 2. I mean, that was very out of character too, to like kick the ball away. That was kind of I don't know. I didn't expect that from him. But,
yeah, I've never seen that from him before, so he was clearly not happy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there were a bunch. It was kind of dirty.
It was somebody on the bench.
There was somebody on the bench.
The coaching staff.
Yeah, and
got one too.
That was. I want to say it was in the first half that the bench got a yellow card.
Yeah.
They must have said exactly the wrong thing to get that referee that upset, and that they had to give him a yellow card.
I think by the end of the game, both sides were not very happy with the ref.
Yeah.
I think St. Louis got the better deal in the first half.
I agree.
And then had plenty to complain about in the second.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of them were warranted, but some of them were softer than we've seen. But St. Louis didn't change their style of play. They just kept catching these cards. And, I guess they're like, hey, let's change this game up. Let's get somebody kicked out. And it worked.
Maybe not our best player next time, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It really did pick up after that, though.
Yeah, I was just surprised how chippy the game got. I could understand, Carnell wanting to, you're facing your old club. You want to show that you're standing on your own 2 feet, and I was surprised how chippy that game got.
It was kind of awkward to watch at times when Indy would get into it a little bit, because there was never any like real headbutting going on there, but he caught a wrist to the face at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is more off the pod convo, but we saw something about Klaus going up to Carnell after the game and like bumping him and getting in his face and shouting at him and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what. I never heard more about it, but I saw a photo of it.
I only saw 2 pictures, and they were just stills. It wasn't a video, and it was just saying like somebody said Klaus and Carnell just bumped chests on the field, and then they were shouting at each other and had to be separated. But that is not anything I heard confirmed. So if we're like a rumor pod, let's get that one out there. But if we're like, we got to go by the book, only confirmed source, then maybe reel that one back.
We'll put the little header at the top. You'll never guess what this guy did at the game.
Yes.
Shocking revelation.
Thumbnail.
Yeah.
Like every YouTube video ever.
Exactly.
You won't believe what I put in my garden bed.
Yeah. You guys will do it as a joke and then be like, oh shoot, we actually got a ton of views now. How to keep doing it.
It's all the time.
Hey, I'm not too proud. Yeah, I'll do it. But when Klaus came onto the field, that made me nervous. Because the fact that we were playing up a man and we did not get that second goal, and then Klaus comes out. I think Chris had even said to him, like, oh man, this guy, if someone's going to make something happen, that guy's just he's a big dude to start with, but he is a giant killer as well. Just these absolutely opportune.
He really knows how to use his body and gets he really draws a lot of fouls, and that's dangerous in a game like that in the second half.
And I know he and our defender Glesnes actually kind of I don't say butt heads, but they got tangled up a few times. It was like Clash of the Titans, like our giant guy versus your giant guy.
Yeah.
At least he was evenly matched. Can you imagine if it was like Kevin Sullivan or something?
Oh no, that would be sad.
You're a little guy. You're a little fella.
That'd be like that picture, I think it was of Robbie Keane in an Ireland match. Like he's, one of the shorter guys.
Germany.
Yeah, against
Robbie Keane all the way, though.
That was one of my favorite. I forget. That was from a World Cup. I forget which one. And he's like a full head shorter than this guy.
That is the essence of it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think the caption probably for that picture as Robbie Keane is looking up at, I forget who it was for Germany, but it's basically probably saying something like, "You better get 2 or 3 other mates."
Yeah.
Yeah, we were a little bummed about the timing of the subs, though. I would say this is a new coach, so we're still getting used to his style of play, but he waited until like the 75th minute to make any changes.
With that many cards on the field.
It just felt kind of odd. It was like that would have been a good thing to shake it up and to try and throw something at the game a little earlier than that.
Oh, do you think the red card threw him off?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. What minute did the red card happen? It was like
66.
after 60, right?
66, yeah.
66,
I have the box score here. I'm cheating. But yeah.
Yeah, that could have thrown him off. We were talking the other day that a couple of those if we just had the same substitutions, but maybe at 60 it would have been a little more interesting there. But well, that's we're behind a microphone for a reason, not behind the bench.
But that is a good segue. I mean, it's only what, 5 matches in, I guess, or so. What are you thinking of the new coach so far?
Yeah.
This match maybe notwithstanding.
I have yet to come to a conclusion yet.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I like him just because I like the team so far and I like the players.
Right.
I think it's a little bit early. I really like his defensive structure, which for some reason for the first game they didn't deploy it against Union. We had an injury, and I guess he didn't trust our right back to really kind of sink into a fifth role in the back. But I don't dislike him so far. That's for sure. He seems to have solved a lot of our defensive issues that we ended the season with.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only thing I'll say is I feel like we're missing midfielders right now, and we sold Indy, and I don't really get that. You know, it just seems a little strange because I feel like that's where we're not feeling like we're very deep right now, and that we could use a little bit more because we just aren't scoring goals. So I don't know. We're not progressing the ball up the field. We are definitely better at defense than we were last year, which is comforting, but I don't know. I'd like to see a little more in that regard.
Forward movement.
I mean,
and I don't know if that's his style of coaching or if that's just where our players are at right now, but
I mean,
we'll see.
By the fact that it took to your 5th game before anybody even scored on you guys, you know.
Yeah, that's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So you had 4 shutouts going into this?
Yes.
Wow.
Not shutouts too. Well, shutouts. Yeah.
So what's
Mel said not shutouts. They're called clean sheets, Paul.
No, we were arguing. Yeah, they were shutouts.
I like, who was it that was it Taylor Twellman who referred to the coach St. Louis, and I can't, what's his name?
Yeah.
I forget.
Hold on, I have it right.
Olaf Melberg.
Yeah, there you go.
Melberg, yeah. As was it Coach Thor or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
the St. Louis moms are not unhappy with that coaching decision.
I will say though, Jim's mom in particular has been she thinks he needs to brush his hair and put on something a little nicer than a t-shirt. His style of dress is interesting. Carnell was always very kind of put together, and our interim coach after that was pretty put together. And so Olaf's coming in with a very caveman look, which I don't hate, but it's a look. It's a look.
Yeah, it's almost like he's wearing, his clothes are just like intentionally too baggy, and it's or unintentionally too baggy, which is maybe worse. But I don't know. I hadn't really put much thought into it yet.
Yeah, I did watch an interview with him. I remember thinking like he just doesn't look as put together. And I'm not judging the guy. I mean, I'm wearing a hoodie right now, and I'm not,
yeah.
But
a little disheveled.
Yeah.
So that's the review for the coach. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's early
a little
days.
disheveled, but he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Is this his first coaching gig as a head coach?
No, he was a head coach in Sweden.
Okay.
But he is a recently retired. I think he played at Aston Villa.
Oh, yeah.
I do that all the time. Every time we say I want to pronounce this Aston Villa.
That's that's exactly what happened.
So the other question, and I noticed this even before the game on Saturday, because we watched, who did St. Louis play? It was a Friday night game, I think it was.
Yeah.
No,
it wasn't. But
we watched it. I think we were even texting. But
was it a 0-0 game, or do we have some
was it
goals?
Saturday? I don't know. It's like either the previous game or the one before it.
San Diego? Or no?
No,
we played San Diego, then we played the Galaxy.
It was Galaxy. It was LA, because I remember
Galaxy. Yeah.
I was particularly rooting extra for
yes, yeah. That was a fun game to watch.
So my one question I have is, how many Germans are on the St. Louis team? You guys have an absolutely massive influx of Germans on your team.
And not German Americans.
No, like Germans. Yeah.
Germans, like Bundesliga 2. Well,
Toy shirt.
Toy shirt.
Yeah. Loven.
Leuven.
Becker.
Beck,
think-
Betcher? Betcher's
No.
not German.
No, he's
I thought
not
he
German.
was. Isn't he not?
He's
Okay.
Betcher went to SLU.
Yeah, Betcher's.
Oh, did he? Okay,
St.
forgive
He
me.
played
Louis
soccer at
University.
SLU, yeah.
I know I was
Nice.
looking up a bunch of people, so I must
We
have
got
been
Hartle. We
confused.
got Johannes Horn.
Hartle,
Yeah.
Pedro Baumgartel.
Is Lunt?
Yes.
Lunt.
He's-
Gotta
he-
be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
look at that name. How many? Yeah. Let's see. What are other on the defense?
That's a lot. That's 6.
That's 6 Germans from
That's
the
pretty
That's a
Bundesliga.
lot of Germans.
All from Bundesliga 2.
Wow.
Berkey.
I was trying to think of
Yeah.
our German guys.
You
who
have
like,
I think
Berkey?
we said Berkey
I don't know
first.
if you said Berkey.
Maybe we didn't. He's
Benjamin
Swiss.
Maximilian Lunt. Thank you very much.
Maximilian, that's
Yes.
funny.
wow.
Yeah, lots of Germans.
Lots of Germans. We love the Germans though. They're great. Germans are all our best players.
It does seem
kinda
like
fun.
they play well together, though.
Yeah. And it's nearly all of their first times playing in the MLS,
Right.
Wow.
which is I don't know how, to be honest, I don't know how unique that is, but it feels like they bring some experience and style of play that
hmm
I don't see a lot on other teams.
Like, how would you characterize their style? Is it?
I don't know. I guess I feel like there's a lot more connectedness between these German guys just innately. Like they get over and they can assimilate very well to this team. There's not a lot of warming up period
hmm
after all these acquisitions because it's been over all these years that we've acquired them. It's not they all came over on one jet.
One big buying spree.
Yeah. So it's been nice that they've been able to like assimilate really well and just the communication on the field seems excellent so far.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, paint with a broad brush, right? But like that German style of playing, it's, tends to be in general, it's physical, right? It's hard to push them off the ball. It's definitely technical and it seems to be team oriented. And it's like, that is just potential strong winning strategy, right there.
And as they used to say, soccer is a game played for 90 minutes, and at the end, the Germans win.
Is that really something I have heard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Mel, I don't know if you agree with this, but this is something our sporting director has always said, that St. Louis is a blue collar town and they need a blue collar team. And the sporting director has always emphasized physical play. And St. Louis has always brought the physical play. I don't know if you feel the same, but like we love that on our home field.
Who is the sporting director?
Lutz Vandenstiel.
Okay.
He looks like
Nailed
Vlad
it.
the Impaler on the website. I looked him up. It really does. It's not the best picture.
He's got a great name, though.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
I mean, it carries that physical message very well.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that was evident on Saturday's game. I mean, we always catch the Union games. We catch other games when we can, and I was pleasantly surprised how physical Saturday's game was. I was not expecting that, and
At this time of the season, between two teams who had never played, it was definitely interesting to see these players get at each other a bit.
It was. I think it would be kind of fun if there was a little rivalry, though. You should. I mean, that's what makes for fun soccer is a little bit of fire.
Yeah, we were kind of relishing it a little bit, even though we were texting you all at the same time. It's like, okay, yeah, if there's a spark there, I'll lean into that.
Yeah. So here's me not doing my homework. This is our only matchup in the regular season, right? We're not seeing each other again.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, one matchup in three years. I was hoping it'd be a little higher than that.
Yeah. That's a bit.
We'll just see you in the cup.
Yeah, I was gonna say
exactly.
we'll see you in the postseason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's with the Western Conference. If we play them once, we don't play them again. That's how it's been since there's been so many teams. Like we either play, we don't do home and away.
I think the way they have it set up is you play your own conference twice, and then you play most of the other conference once.
Okay.
It's just crazy that the last 2 years we have not been matched up at all against St. Louis.
Mhm.
And there were some teams who played 3 times. I remember, was it like New England or something, or
It
I don't
wasn't
know.
that was
That
maybe
was the
part of
COVID
another.
year.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm
that's-
thinking.
Or part of another tournament too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
That could have been. So
Well, I have one last thing about the game. I don't know if there's if you want to, and then I have some other stuff too. But
Sure.
so what I think about this game was our wager. So I think
Yes.
so the deal was that if St. Louis won, we would mail you guys a package of, what did we decide? Was it the soft pretzels, the Philly
Philly
pretzels?
soft
yeah.
pretzels.
And we might have thrown some tasty cakes in there for good measure, even though.
Oh.
But then on the flip side, which is the one we're gonna have to
Since that didn't
cash
happen.
in, was the gooey butter cake, right?
Yeah.
And I was asking Christy, like, so I'm not super familiar. I mean, I like all three words. So, so what is gooey butter cake?
Well, if you're trying to ask what's in it, don't.
Oh,
You'll enjoy it a lot better not knowing.
what's the
Yeah.
experience of gooey butter cake?
ingredient
Let's go
one,
with that.
lard. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of powdered sugar. It's like you use yellow cake mix and I'm telling you a ton of yellow powdered sugar and butter. And I think those might be the only three ingredients. Probably you probably do an egg and some water, I would guess, like you do with a
Sure.
For
normal
health
cake
benefits.
mix. But I think it's like a poor man's dessert a little bit, but it has been, it's an iconic St. Louis thing.
It's like a lemon bar cake.
No, but not lemony.
Not too lemony.
There's no lemon in
Okay,
it.
no lemon.
It's
It's just yellow.
it's
Yeah,
very,
it's
very,
yellow.
very sweet.
Yeah, very sweet, very rich,
Decadent.
dense,
Dense, yeah.
and it has the texture of being like underbaked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Which
Okay
is
with
what
that.
gives it that gooey texture, but it's
Yeah.
fully baked in. So
It's fully baked, but it
very,
has like
yeah.
a gooey underbaked texture, which is, you'll have like one or two bites and be like, oh, that's amazing. And then you'll be halfway through your third bite and you're going to say, I think maybe 4 bites is the most I can do.
So in keeping with St. Louis fashion, then probably the best accompaniment with it would be a cup of coffee, right? The kind of
I think that's appropriate. Yep.
Absolutely a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So I'll be working on that. I'll make you guys up a little
All right.
batch of gooey butter cake and send it over to Philly. Paul, you might even get some at your door too. We'll see. You've got some hungry kids in that house, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Might send you just your own, just so it doesn't get between teenagers. You get at least one bite.
Also
Maybe.
have it under a floorboard.
Middle of the night, flashlight, going out to the backyard, digging up a spot. What's going on? Nothing. Well, thank you. I mean, it definitely made the game more fun with the wager riding on it.
The food on the line. Yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, no, I do have a question about the game because I don't know if you heard this, but I heard that. Well, I listened to a podcast about the soccer game, and they were saying that in the post game interview, both the coach and the players on our team were like complaining about the wind so much.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you guys
How
had said it was
there?
windy, but the podcast I was listening to was like, come on, guys, like rule 1, don't complain about the elements. Everyone is experiencing the elements the same sort of,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But okay,
yeah.
so what was the wind like? Was it as crazy as they were complaining it was?
I think it probably was the worst I've ever experienced at that stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, well,
Okay.
there you
Yeah.
go.
That sounds pretty bad.
It's
I
pretty
mean-
bad because I think it was technically in the 30s, but it felt like the 20s for sure.
Mhm.
And I think it was like eventually we had separate seats because just at the beginning, but then there were open seats next to where Eric and I were sitting, and Paul and Nate came over, so we were all sitting together. And I think it was a few minutes. We don't tend to leave games early. We want to stick it out, I think that's broadly speaking, unless there's something going on. But I think it was about 8 minutes before the end of the game, not counting any extra time. And Paul's like, if anybody wanted to leave early, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm
It
just
was
saying.
that might have been the first time,
Yeah.
barring a sick kid, that you're like, I gotta leave early.
Because at the
Yeah.
half,
Yeah.
I was like, we have to go under for the half. I just whatever
Yeah.
happens, we have to go under because we have to get out of this wind. Because
Yeah.
at first
Yeah.
it was like, oh, it's fine, but then that started going on more and more. I'm like, are you cold?
Yeah.
It was
How
one
much
of
are the
those
blankets in the gift shop? And yeah, no, I'm not paying that. But
Yeah,
It was one of those cold, windy days that the wind just makes it finds every little gap in your.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter how much you think you bundled
Yeah.
up, there's always something that's more exposed than it should
Yeah.
be. And it was,
Mhm.
I don't understand how they're running around out there without the long sleeves on. I don't get the
Right.
gloves with short sleeves.
No.
Do not understand that look for a
No.
soccer. But at the same point, at least they were running around. We were freezing in the stands.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it was brutal. So, but you're right. I mean, there is a little bit of like, everybody has that though. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like it's a Florida team that might not
Right.
be used to that, so,
Right.
but I can understand just generally not being happy with it. Because it was pretty rough.
And the
We
wind.
can make up for the lack of connection with our passes, though. That wasn't the win.
No,
No.
I mean, on long like clearing shots and stuff like that, the ball definitely you could see it would
Yeah.
just kind of stop.
Some
in
of
the air
your
and
throw-ins,
drop.
holy
Yes.
cow!
Oh my
Depending on which
gosh! In
side
the
of the
first
field.
like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
you guys were throwing the ball 3/4 of the way across the
Yeah,
field.
yeah, absolutely. It had that effect. It
Yeah,
absolutely did.
that is true. Yeah, it did
but-
affect that.
But when it did happen, I remember thinking like, oh man, if St. Louis gets the throw in from the side, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So it cuts both ways.
Right.
Totally.
But it was very blustery because we're right on the river. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been a couple times where the ball clears over the river end, and
Like
the
out
crowd
of the
always-
stadium.
Out of the stadium.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
And,
cool.
And
Someone goes fishing for it.
I don't know that
should
it
have
necessarily
people out there.
lands in the water. There is a bit of space
there's
there
a
between
road
the.
there or a parking lot.
It's not like
But
there's
yeah.
not like
Pittsburgh.
kayakers
Yeah.
out there like
I honestly
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
where
Giant
the
stadium.
I think it's where the players park their cars, so there
Yeah.
might be some of the soccer ball slamming into one of their hopefully not one of the
Beamer.
high end cars. That's
Haven
Yeah.
Sullivan's like, hey, that's my mom's car.
Yeah, it's definitely the planes, trains, and automobiles stadium because there's railroad tracks on one side.
Yep.
We're in the flight path for the Philly
Mhm.
airport.
Yep.
There's a bridge that goes
Yep.
right behind one
Right
set of
behind us,
stands,
yeah.
and then the river. So it's just. Yeah, I didn't fully realize that until a few years ago, like how surrounded by transportation
Yeah.
That's
we
cool.
are.
Yeah.
But it's for all that, it is actually quite a lovely stadium.
Yeah.
But
We'll have to come in for a game for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
definitely.
One where we don't have to fight each other. Something
exactly.
neutral.
I don't know. We're playing LA or something,
Yeah, I'll cheer against that.
Yeah.
Or Kansas City if they ever play there.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
I'm proud to say Kansas City has traditionally had a pretty rough go in our stadium. It was that one like with James and Miguel, we all went and the Union crushed them 4-0.
Yeah.
It
We
was,
love to hear
was
it.
a great game.
Yeah, that was a good game. Yeah.
Well, kind of related to that. So you guys are in Chicago now, which is, I mean, I guess is Chicago kind of a rival city for St. Louis? I mean,
Certainly for baseball and hockey.
Yeah.
But MLS doesn't seem like much of a rivalry. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a bit of a city rivalry, I guess,
Yeah.
but there really isn't much of a rivalry. I think Chicago, they're in the East or are they in the West?
East.
They are East.
Yeah.
I thought they were in the East, but I didn't want to sound too confident and then get it wrong. But-
You're on our podcast.
Yeah,
You
that
could just
happens
you
all
could
the
start
time.
over and say they're on the east.
yeah. But yeah, we don't see them that often.
No,
We don't
that's
see them
true.
out
Yeah.
often. It's not. We're gonna get tickets to the game when City is in Chicago, so that'll be a
Mhm.
blast in August.
Mhm.
And then City actually has a fan policy, and this has been going on for 3 years now. That if you show proof of travel to a different city, they will comp the first 200 tickets. So
Really?
they pay for the tickets of anyone if you prove travel and
Like to one of our out of town
To
games.
one of the
Yeah,
out
Yeah,
of town.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
so
that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so City is actually usually it's a young club and has a lot of support at home. So I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a little bit of being the new club, but they actually get a lot of support out of town, which is fun. So we're excited to joined the away section.
Nice. That kind of explains a little bit. There was the whole visitor section for the game on Saturday was pretty full. Now, I don't know if they were all City fans, but it was a
It was
full
hard
section.
to tell. It was a full section. It was hard to tell from where we were who they were supporting. But yeah.
Nice. Well, that's good to hear. It's really fun to see a well-supported club on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We did see a decent number of jerseys too.
Yeah.
You actually were saying good game to somebody
Yeah,
afterwards
when we were
because you
leaving.
were feeling
There's some City fans. I was like,
brotherly.
good game.
That Midwestern in you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you guys gave it your best, be proud of that.
Listen, you're young. You're young.
If your coach can't see what a good job you guys all did, then you know what? That's on him.
I am realizing though that the teams we seem to get chippiest with are Midwestern. So St. Louis, Chicago,
far.
the last few outings we have had it at. Yeah. And if you count Cincinnati
too.
as Midwest, which is borderline Midwest, but like
we claim them.
You claim them? All right, cool. Okay. That's good. I wasn't sure. I have a friend in Dayton and she says Midwest, but I'm like, are you really? I'm not sure. But but anyway, yeah. So but yeah, I think we might be too nasty.
Well, the Chicago and Cincinnati though, because there still is a union tie, because a lot of our people seem to either go Chicago, Cincinnati, or there were a couple that went to Nashville.
Maybe that's me considering it a light rivalry and not so much chippy.
But it is like those games would get, particularly Chicago. I was surprised how chippy it got. Like Fabian Herbers, who was one of our players, he does not hold back whenever we play them. I mean, it's almost like I almost think he's mad at us. Like
the last couple of outings, the last couple outings with Chicago have been rough.
Yeah, do you guys like a little bit of that in soccer?
What the animosity?
Oh,
do you
like that, or do you kind of say that's kind of Bush League, get some of this out of the league? Because I can tell you, St. Louis, they love it. St. Louis loves when people get a little chippy and get push back a little physically when maybe it's not
fully warranted,
supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's fine.
As long as it's not like injuring anybody or putting in someone in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, no, when they get angry and go for like those, I could have broken your leg kind of tackles.
Oh yeah, no, that's
like
gross.
That's too much. Yeah, but no, just a bit of spirited play. That's with me.
Chippy and spirit is good. Reckless and dangerous, I'll pass.
Right there.
Or deliberate too. Like sometimes you get a sense like someone's.
Well, then it's just like you want to get them out of the game so they don't hurt anybody.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, but there's always something for the exciting games. I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
Like I remember what game was it when our captain Ali, like, did he score and he ran over to the microphone on the corner? He just picks it up and he's like screaming and he's like, "Let's go!"
Oh really? Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
That's fun.
I would love that.
He was like super pumped.
That might have been the COVID year too, because I think that the people, they were just excited to be playing. So there was some stuff going on there. But yeah. And I mean, this isn't the same as Chippy, but as far as rivalries go, I like it when they develop naturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think for a while there, a couple years ago, I mean, I think since season 1, we haven't liked the Red Bulls because there were some incidents at the stadium. Yeah. They were throwing my friend used to sit in a different. She went to all the games at the time, and she sat in a different stadium. And I actually wasn't at that game, but she was texting me, and she said, "I'm never coming to these games again. They're throwing like full water bottles."
Yeah, that one got ugly.
Just and then they sat like maybe second row or something like that. And they were real close to the section. I mean, I remember one Red Bulls game where they actually had security standing up on like the
no way, really?
On like the roof thing behind me. Like they were up there.
No wonder you guys don't like them.
Yeah, it was a lot, and it hasn't. I don't think
it was a bit of a dark period.
Since. Yeah, that was the early days.
Yeah,
Nothing's been like that since, but the rivalry has held. But They tried to, for a few years ago, they were really trying to push like we're rivals with everybody. It was like the Washington rivalry, the New
what?
England
Right,
rivalry. It's like
right.
we don't have a rival. We want to beat
We
them.
want to beat them, sure, but
It's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
rivalry. So
Yeah.
please stop trying to manufacture stuff that isn't there. So, and they calmed down with that a little bit, but
Nice.
Chicago could be our Midwestern rivals soon.
yeah. Hey, maybe St. Louis,
Yeah.
As long as it's organic, that's all we require.
Right.
Right.
That's
We
right.
like our
That felt
rivalries.
pretty organic.
It did.
Well, maybe there's going to be somebody telling a story someday. Remember when that podcast had those St. Louis fans on and it ended with a huge fighting match and it started a rivalry between the clubs?
So for the season ahead, so since we're not going to cross paths, at least not until the playoffs or postseason, what do you guys, any kind of big games coming up or like, your big rivals and like kind of what are you guys, what are your hopes for the season?
Yeah. The hopes for the season are playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoffs, getting there and winning a round. I think we'd both be super happy with that. I think everyone would be happy with winning a round. Is that setting our sights a little high? Sure. But why not? I mean,
And by winning
it's
around,
not-
you mean it's not the 8-9 playoff game. It's the, actual
Correct.
playoffs, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And you're
That-
beating Kansas City when you do it.
Oh yeah, we're beating them. We're
Yeah.
beating them. We might have to drag them with us along the way to give them a shot at the playoffs, but we need revenge for year one.
That was rough.
Exercise.
Yeah,
those
that
demons.
was a tough way to go. But yeah, I mean, feeling good. Last year sucked. It was hard to go from the high highs of winning the West in our first year and a total unexpected performance after, really expected to be at the bottom of the table the whole year. That was truly incredible. We'll never, be able to do that again or replace that feeling. So now we're just kind of like, who are we? Let's figure out who this club is now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had the crazy first year, settled down, a little disappointing last year. What are we going to look like? We're still kind of up in the air. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that it's an exciting feeling. It's like, okay, now we're just a soccer team. We got nothing else,
Mm-hmm.
no other expectations, but to win some soccer games, and we've got a rival coming up against Kansas City.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
April
Nice.
19th, I think,
April
with Kansas
19th.
City.
Yeah.
Or is that that
it's a
might be
Wednesday night
Vancouver.
game.
No, that's Vancouver, and then
Yeah.
we've got Kansas City May
Yeah.
14th.
We're going in town for Easter, so we'll get to catch that.
Oh,
There's a
nice.
Saturday night game, and we're excited for that.
And then
You're
it's-
going to the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys still have your season tickets, right?
We kept
We
them.
do. So
Yeah.
Good.
what's actually great, we kept them, and to be clear, we're not just selling them to anybody. We I don't know what it's like in Philly, but and this isn't my homerism showing because I'm a massive Blues fan. The St. Louis City MLS tickets is the hardest ticket to get in St. Louis,
Really?
Mhm.
Really?
Mhm.
and
Well,
most of it, yeah.
they're kind of expensive.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
most of the time the cheapest you can get into the stadium is $80, and it
Wow.
seats over 22,000.
Holy
Mhm.
cow.
So we've sold out every single game of
Wow.
the regular MLS regular season, and it's just a blast to be at. It's a
Mhm.
total. Everybody is in the seat before kickoff.
Mhm.
Everybody, and so we've been selling them, at our season ticket costs for the supporter section, only $25 a ticket. Pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And it's general admission and it's a blast there. And so we've been selling them at that cost to friends and family who haven't had the chance to go to many games because it's, only the start of the third season.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And selling a few big games just to make up for the profit.
Yeah, Galaxy.
Gotta do that too.
The
Yeah.
Galaxy game helped.
Yeah.
But we're going to Kansas City and it's a Wednesday game. So
Yeah,
we're
that's fun.
finding a way to, I'll
Yeah, we're trying to get to some of the big games for sure.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the
And and then if playoffs roll around, I'm sure we'll have to find our way back to St. Louis.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. We should make a
100%.
deal. We don't have to
Uh-oh.
agree with it now, but if the Union and St. Louis meet in the playoffs, We should
if
try
they
to
meet in the
be
playoffs, it's happening.
Yes.
It's going down.
Exactly.
We'll be there.
Exactly.
We'll be there and we'll record a podcast
I don't
right
care.
after the game.
I don't care who's turning 100. I will be there.
Oh, man.
Were you guys, I was curious, so you were at your grandfather's birthday party. Were you like, you had the game on your phones and stuff, or did they have
it was so there was a little bit of finagling with the timing of it all because it was a daytime party. It was just from like 1 to 3.
Okay.
But we were staying with Jim's parents, and they actually tend to start the game. His dad wants to watch the whole game. So any sporting events, like
they like to record them and watch them an hour after it starts or whatever.
Yeah, and just not look at their phones. And I, in anticipation of this problem, was like, Jim, we have to start the game at 6:30. Like, they're going to be texting us. I want to be able to talk about the game. Like, so we had to reschedule our like dinner plans essentially so that we were going to be home for it because they are those people.
Luckily, they're super fans too, and they totally understood.
Yeah.
Awesome. Because I think, texting, I'm like, wait, if they're at this party, like, I don't want to start texting things like, "Oh my God," and they're like, "We're having cake right now. We can't watch the game."
No, I appreciate
it. Was earlier in the day.
I appreciated the text though, because it was for sure a concern I had. And that his parents are super fans, and his dad wants to watch the whole game start to finish. He's not going to turn it on 20-30 minutes in. So they're the people that want to watch the full game. So I was anticipating them wanting to start it a little later. So
it was funny because I had my phone in my coat pocket and I just kept feeling zzz. It was just like, and Eric's sitting there texting.
It was
and I'm
funny.
Like, I am too cold to text. Tell him I said hi.
Fingers frozen.
I think Mel at one point was like, Jim, you're texting him too much.
No.
No, it's fun.
When Indy first came on the screen, we were both like, "Oh, Indy!"
No,
you're breaking my heart, Indy.
You look so terrible in navy blue.
I did say that.
That's okay.
I stand by it.
It's okay.
I think that he looked really good in hot red.
Yeah.
And so does Jim. Look at that.
I will tell you,
color.
When we got him, Paul was like, he looks just like Jim. How did they work that out? And I was like, I don't see it. And like the more I see it, I'm like,
twist up his mustache.
Yeah. There we go.
Maybe with a little shorter hair.
There you go. Looks good.
Yeah, Mel likes to say Indy looks a lot like me, and I like to say, oh, that's funny. He's really good looking. And everybody laughs.
He's also very humble too.
Yeah.
Very humble. Very exactly.
His humility is second to his good looks. So you guys are still sitting in 5th place. So that ain't nothing to shake a stick at.
No, it was interesting. I looked at the table and I was like, really, it's even before the rest of the teams had finished their games, I was saying there's a good chance we don't move too much from this, which is kind of surprising this early on.
So who are you guys playing next?
Who are we playing next, actually? What is it, this Saturday?
Sunday. We play Sunday at 1:30.
Who are you guys playing?
You're right, Austin.
Austin, okay. What, as we like to say, what do you hope to see in that game? Because Austin's sitting in 2nd place right now. So
it'll be an interesting game because we still won't have Berkey back as our goalie, and we won't have Leuven because of the red card. And he kind of is the center of our team.
Yeah, and I'd like to see the rest of the team not care about that and pick it up.
Yeah, I think that'd be really great. I think it'll just throw off our formation, and so I think we'll just have to play a little different. But
yeah, I'd like to see our best players show up that aren't Leuven and Berkey and show that we're really not just relying on those guys. And we do have good quality. Listen, they're still Germans. We've got unlimited Germans.
Unlimited Germans. That's a t-shirt. You need to make that t-shirt.
Yeah.
STL. Unlimited Germans. There you go. You're welcome.
And we'd like to see some goals, I think.
We haven't scored enough goals.
Yeah. I think we've scored 4 goals this season, maybe. Yeah. So that, I think we'd like to see a goal or 2.
Yeah.
And some earlier substitutions.
Yeah.
especially because we like a lot of our bench players too.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a couple players that haven't
legitimately.
gotten enough time this year.
Coming off of injury from last year, but
Yeah.
still, we think they should have enough fitness to
Yeah,
give
like,
them 30.
especially, and Klaus has been benched for a couple games in a row now from the starting lineup, and so I think he needs to
He's due.
start. Yeah, he needs to be on the
He
field.
needs to start and he needs to score. He's our DP.
Is he benched because of like injury, or is there like
No.
they're just not playing him?
Quality of play.
All right.
Which
Yeah,
which I guess, to go back to one of your first questions, I like that out of the coach that isn't afraid to bench a DP in his third game.
Yeah.
I mean, play the best players.
Which is a Carnell thing too.
Yeah, it is.
He definitely beats that drum about if you're performing, you get on the field. You know, it doesn't matter what your contract says or how many zeros are on it, you know, which appeals to, I guess, a working class sensibility.
Yeah,
you
and-
work hard and you deserve the reward.
It's
Yeah,
funny because
but-
the beginning of your season sounds very much like the beginning of our season last year, except for having a new coach. We didn't.
Mhm.
But
Christy, I don't want to
hopefully-
hear that.
Hopefully the similarity-
hold on. It went south halfway through the season, and they traded away a bunch of other people. So
Okay.
Yeah.
so as long as they don't do that,
Okay.
you're good. Because we actually started pretty strong last year, relatively speaking. You know, so.
Well, you guys have a great start this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're
Yeah.
Philly fans, so we're just waiting for the
We're
other
just
shoe to
waiting.
drop.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do. That's what I do. I'm the negative. Probably the most on here. I don't know. But anyway, yeah.
It's just that you believe you have community that also feels the same way. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Hope shared is, or joy shared is joy multiplied, and
Oh boy,
grief,
don't do
grief
this.
shared is grief divided.
Don't do it.
Maybe it could be like your new thing to have like a idiom or a phrase that you get halfway through every episode.
We get halfway through the idiom or phrase. Now that we get it halfway through the episode, just we keep falling.
This episode brought to you by the following idiom.
Well, we
All
play
right.
Miami this weekend, so that should be
Ooh.
Oh, that'll be fun to watch.
always a fun one.
Where at home or away?
In
Away.
Miami.
It's in Miami.
It's away. So
I know you guys are big Jordi Alba fans.
Eric's still bitter. Still bitter. When was that? That was 22?
That was
That we-
23.
Or 23.
Right?
Yeah,
it
it was
was
23.
Leagues Cup.
Yeah, it was Leagues Cup.
And
You're right.
yeah, I have not gotten over it. And a good friend of mine's a Real Madrid fan, and so he shares in my
ouch.
dislike. Jordi Alba. Puh. And I know on my luck, it's like Union signed Jordi Alba. I'm like,
Oh my
son of a-
gosh.
No, I don't think
No,
that's
they
gonna
won't.
happen.
Yeah, but I think the Miami game is going to be a big test. You know,
Mhm.
Well, yeah, we'll have to watch that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey,
anything
we'll see.
can happen. Anything
Any
can happen.
given Saturday.
It'd be pretty fun to see him taken down by Philly.
Yeah, I would be perfectly happy with that.
On the road, that sounds ideal.
You'd probably be running around the backyard.
Alrighty, well, Mel and Jim, it's always a pleasure to have you on. It's always a lot of fun. We wish you guys a lot of luck in the season coming up, and hopefully we will see you guys in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. We are always happy to join the pod and talk all things soccer and whatnot.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We'll be rooting for Philly now through the rest of the year until, like you said, we see you once more.
And I look forward to the gooey butter cake.
Yes, yes. I'll let you know when that's in the mail. Can't wait to hear what you think about it.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Super fun.
All right.
See ya.
Don't be afraid to ask again if we ever run into you.
Oh, we won't.
Or maybe we can have them on after a Kansas City game, and we can all luxuriate
Oh, we
in
should do that.
a Kansas City loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can't guarantee that if we lost a playoff game to you, we would fight on the following week.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think
the
we would
following season.
Yeah. Bridge too
maybe-
far. Yeah.
Maybe we have to make that a preview discussion.
100%.
I think so too.
Yeah, good idea.
And
Good
schedules
idea.
permitting, if you know, if St. Louis is hosting, we'll be there. We will absolutely, because I want to come down and see that. Because like when I think of like right when I know when you guys score, right, the whole place goes red, right? Isn't that where they just?
Well, the place goes red.
They do. They shoot
on the
they
introduction
shoot,
of the players.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
They drop all the lights, introduce the players.
The whole
There's the
stadium
whole
is red,
stadium
yeah.
is chanting STL,
Yeah.
and it chants. It goes through until the anthem,
But
and then the
it
anthem
is
starts and it cuts off.
But the whole stadium is red. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, and when we win, they shoot, or when we score, they shoot like, I guess it's
Smoke
just
and
smoke.
fireworks.
Yeah, red smoke up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think a lot of them do that, but out the outside too. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's
Yeah.
a cool stadium.
Regardless, if even if we're not slotted to see Philly, you guys should, next time you're happen to be in St. Louis, let's try to work a game in somehow.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's on our to-do list. I mean, because when we came out to see oh no, it was your wedding. That's right. We ran over to the stadium to check it out.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No,
nice.
it wasn't.
Nice.
It wasn't their wedding.
wasn't their wedding?
It was the year before when we went for the reunion.
Oh, it was the reunion.
Yeah,
That's
because
right.
they hadn't actually started yet when we went. We were
That's
just
right, yeah.
stalking everybody and buying out the store.
Yeah.
We actually ran back on the way to the airport because I think we wanted to get more stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fun.
You guys have very good swag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
We
that
do.
store
The
is
flag
awesome.
is great.
Mhm.
They've done a great job with it. It's
Yeah.
really hard to walk in there.
Yeah.
I think the union need to up their
Yeah.
their team store a little bit because
Yeah.
you guys its own freestanding building. It's like all
Mhm.
glass and you know
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. I was surprised
Yeah,
by that.
and they-
That's just the
Yeah, it's like an
purpose
Apple
of
store.
being built,
Yeah.
I think, in 2020 probably. You know?
Yeah, they had a little more space to work with, I think, too. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they do a good job refreshing everything every season, every half season. They'll have new lines coming out, which is fun.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Well,
Good luck
thanks.
against Miami.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Go
Yeah.
Union
Good
for
Good luck
that.
this weekend. There you go. Thanks,
Well,
Mel.
we
All right.
appreciate it. So,
Yeah.
but
See you
hey,
guys.
we'll talk later.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Sounds
Okay.
good.
See ya.
Bye.
See
See
ya.
you guys. Okay. Well, I guess coming up next then for the Union, this will be a particularly significant test for the team. We are traveling to Miami and we'll be facing Inter Miami on Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, this could be Miami neat as Messi
Yeah, right.
is apparently coming back from an injury. He's something he worked up, and so they're not sure if he's going to be on the field or not. Also, interestingly, that Miami, they've won their 2 away games, but they've got 1 win and a tie at home. So, it's early days in the season, but they are actually better on the road than at home. So hopefully the Union can take advantage of that.
Yeah, right. In terms of players, and I don't know this, we should have most of our guys back from international break.
So it does look like the MLS players will be returning from international break in time for the games this Saturday,
Good.
which certainly would be welcome by
Yeah.
the Union.
Yeah.
Of course, as we talked about on other times, it would be interesting to see how Carnell will rotate players, especially those who got significant minutes with their international teams. Not all of the Union players did, so they may be able to come back and just step right back onto the field.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting Baribo back on there would be nice to keep his goal scoring form, active and hot would be nice.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Miami is the big bad to me.
Yeah.
Whether that's actually earned and warranted, I'm not sure. But we've talked about that before, so it'd be nice to get a win there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The Miami's only played 4 games, so they're 3-0-1.
Hmm.
Technically, I mean that gives them a points per game of 2.5 points per game.
Hmm.
This is really, I mean, if you go just by points per game,
Mm-hmm.
Philly's at 2.4, Vancouver's at 2.4, and then the next team is at 2. So if you go by points per game, it's Miami versus Philly, and these are two of the tops points per game teams in the
Mm.
league right now. This is really a kind of a clash of the early season Titans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see how it works out and what adjustments Miami makes. I mean, Miami has a lot of weapons
Yeah, they do.
on that team. That roster is stacked,
Yeah, it is.
and we'll have to see if the Union's team mentality comes out and if they can muck it up enough to keep Miami from making those connections and find a way to get the opportunities that obviously the Union can do. The Union are dangerous. They take a lot of shots. So hopefully that'll happen, and hopefully the Union will come away with points.
I wonder if this is going to give Carnell an opportunity to play with the lineup even more, which, by its nature is risky, right? You change the
Mm-hmm.
lineup and that could have a fairly detrimental effect on how the team plays. But if it clicks and your opposing team is not prepared for what you put out in the field, this might be the time to try something against
Mm-hmm.
Miami. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Thoughts, hopes, what you kind of want to see in this game?
Yeah.
Lukic, I want to see Lukic continue to play as dominating as he has been in that center midfield spot because Miami's going to make it, they're going to get attacks in.
Hmm.
And Lukic being in front of the defense and trying to shut down some of those attacks before they get into a position to really generate good shots is going to be key for this. It'll be interesting to see if Danley's available. Does Lukic partner with Danley? Does he partner again with Indy? Does Bedoya get a rare run out in this game? I don't
Hmm.
know. Does Choo Choo
Oh
finally earn
yeah, right.
enough of an opportunity to make an appearance?
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
do think that defensive midfield pairing, whoever they put there in that middle pivot, is going to be crucial to the Union's chances in this game.
Yeah. Plus, Lukic definitely seems to be subscribing to the Glesnes school of long range shooting. I feel like
Oh yeah.
he's been teeing up shots,
Mm-hmm.
well outside the 18, and that's a variable the other teams have to consider. Considering, I think like at least a third of their shots go in the net.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. This is going to be a test. This is going to be a test for sure.
It'll be should be a fun one to watch.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
How about you, E? Anything you're looking for in this game?
I feel like Burt Reynolds in Mystery Alaska after the second period as they're playing against the Islanders, and I'm like, just keep it close. Kind of fall back into the center, shut down the passing lane. So let's just keep it close. But then there's the Russell Crowe part of me that's like, I'm not done yet. So yeah, like I want to see this game
I didn't
stay
hear no
close.
bell.
Exactly. Um,
God.
I want to see, yeah, I want to see our defense hold. I want to see Glesnes continuing to kind of run that back line. I know he's been pushing up a little bit more. It makes me a little nervous because, he may not be able to go step for step for some of these forwards on the other teams, but so far I think he's been holding pretty well. Um, I want to see Barribo score. That's what I want to see. I want to see
There you
him
go.
at least get one goal
Mm-hmm.
and get the scoring machine rolling again. I mean, of course, I want to see us win, but kind of
Mm-hmm.
if Barribo's out there, I want to see him score.
How about
Um,
you, Christy? Anything you're looking for in this
I
game?
mean, probably the same. I'd like to see what Baribo can do against, I mean, Baribo and his supporting team
supporting
members. Of
staff.
course, it's not a one man the situation, but I would like to see what he can do against Miami. Um, and I mean, I don't think this has appeared in later outings, but I've never quite gotten over the when we faced them in Leagues Cup when we were talking about 2023
Hmm.
earlier, the reverence that the Union seemed to show for Miami with Messi on the field. Now I understand he I guess likely won't be in this game or possibly won't be in this match. But that was really annoying. So I don't,
Except for Martinez.
except for Martinez, which was
Yeah.
actually the image we used to go with our pod that week
Yeah.
because respect to Martinez. But because he kind of got in his face
Yeah.
because of course he did. But yeah, I just I mean, there are some other folks on the team who are I guess could be considered legends depending on your standpoint, and I don't want us to care about
Yeah.
that. I don't, that's nice. I save it for after the match, but when you're on there, just mow them over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't. I agree. Don't give them too much respect.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to go breaking legs or anything. I'm not talking about that.
No.
But I'm just saying,
Channel the spirit of Martinez.
That's right.
I think that's what we'd like to see.
Bring back the samba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting match. We're definitely going to be following along with the rest of you all. Yeah, we'll see what this weekend has in store.
So this past Tuesday, March 25th, as we record, it was the 15th anniversary of the Union's first ever game, also known in our household as the game where Alexi Lawless said, "That's your team, Philadelphia," and never got over that either.
Never got over it.
Apparently, I hold grudges. I'm finding out as I'm talking. But
you can ask him all about it when he's on the podcast.
Yeah, that would be. You might have to tie me to my chair. But yeah, so that 15 years.
It's been that long.
Yeah, I mean, I know last season was the 15th season, so this is the 16th season, but yeah, regardless, it's remarkable to think about.
Yeah.
Because it still feels in some ways like a new thing, in some ways like it's always been there.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that was a fun little, they put up the team picture from the very first match on their socials this week, and I was looking at it and just like, who are these people? Mostly remember Danny Califf, and I think we got somebody very blonde who was not with the team much longer got a red card like almost immediately. I think in that match it didn't go well. I do not remember his name, and I'm not going to look it up. But
we're gonna have to make a trivia game where we're gonna have to answer.
We'll hold that one for later. Name. But yeah, so congrats on 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
The birth of Zolo. Okay, but that's 15 years old.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else, guys?
Not this week.
All right. Well, yeah. Hey, if you want to join in the conversation, you can check us out at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Send us your questions, either email or on socials. Particularly Instagram's a good one. And we'll be sure to include them on the podcast. So you can email us at pod@amorephillyunion.com. On the socials, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Bluesky, we are a More Philly Union. For something a little extra, check out our Spotify playlist with the very eclectic collection of songs that accompany all of our postings. So just search for More Philly Union on Spotify and look for the little music notes. Be sure to download and subscribe our podcast wherever you get yours. While you're at it, go show some love to one of our favorite forces for good in the world, in the Unionverse. That's the Philadelphia Union Foundation. You can check them out at philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. And again, just want to give a special thanks to Mel and Jim for being such great sports.
Thank you.
And just being an absolute pleasure to have on the podcast. So thanks for joining us again this week. And I have my little note here. And best of luck to St. Louis City for the season. And hopefully we'll see you guys in the playoffs. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul. Go Union!
How are things going in Chicago? Or should we save that one for the pod as well? But
Chicago's great.
Yeah.
We're
Nice.
loving it so far.
nice.
Yeah. It has been such a nice it's been such a nice break for us too, because we don't actually know anybody here, or at least we don't know that many people.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew everybody and their mother in St. Louis, so there was a lot going on for us there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been nice just to explore the city on our own for a little bit.
Yeah, we moved to a big city to have nothing to do on purpose.
Yeah. In actuality, it sounds crazy, but it's true.